Have you guys ever wondered what it would be like to be a duck soldier in the trenches, you know? Well, I don't know if we're in the trenches, but shooting up all the bad guys? Well, that game exists. You can
There's
play it on
something that
Steam.
keeps on happening with Steam. These games that just appear seemingly out of nowhere.
I think I can't remember the Lethal Company. I thought this game was shit. I'm gonna be honest. Same with Among Us. It was only good because it was just a cheap, like I think Among Us was free actually, but a cheap play with your friends type shit,
Budget and
which you can just do like Fortnite.
explode in social media. All your friends start posting in Discord. We all pile in to see what's
Okay, well,
going on. And
Schedule
this
1 is
happening more
actually
and more.
good.
Take
That's the difference.
Peak, that was the big summer sensation game of this
Peak
type.
was stupid.
But here's the thing. There's one of them that's just been viral, and it's very, very different. The game is Escape from Duckov. It's got 2 million sales. It has higher player counts than Battlefield 6. And it's a single-player game about ducks.
If it's free, I
One that
understand.
I bet most of you have never played.
I've seen it, I haven't
of,
played it.
Unless you're on Steam all the time.
It's
Here's
18
a secret.
bucks.
Secret we want to let you in on. Just like the titular ducks, there is a lot more going on underneath the surface of this game.
Yeah, I remember browsing the Steam store for stuff to play, and I've seen this 4 or 5 times, and I just thought it was like I never actually looked into it. I thought it was just some shitpost game like Banana or something, you know?
A lot more going on. I mean, something to the tune of about $11.3 billion.
Wow.
Okay, we've seen 2 recent viral hits in Steam. One of them fits the pattern perfectly. It's called RV There Yet. It's a co-op
I saw that
game
as
about
well.
a bunch of dads getting their RV home. It's wacky, it's fun, it's got 2 million sales, with just over 100,000 concurrent players.
Really?
Storyline is nice too. Nugget Entertainment just made it from a game jam.
Man, as gamers, our standards are way too low. Jesus Christ.
Basically, they wanted to put it out, and then it absolutely blew up because of social media. Just quite lovely, but it's also familiar, less newsworthy.
Happens
Yes,
every 3
co-op
months or
games
so.
spread like wildfire, especially clip-friendly ones. We've seen that a lot. This next game, the other viral success, is the weird one. It's Escape from Duckov. As I said, 2 million sales in just 2 weeks. What it is a single-player extraction shooter. It sells for $16, which is a fair bit more than the under $10 of many other similar scoped games. But it shares some meme potential because everyone's a duck. People like ducks. But here's the thing.
It's like why
There's
Fall
no
Guys is popular. It's because they're all jelly beans.
Multiplayer social spread. There's none of the network effect. So here's the question. How can this game get more concurrent players than Battlefield 6? Where at
That's
one
what I
point,
want to know.
This was the 5th most played game.
Like, again,
in
if it was free, I would understand, but it's not.
Steam. First, the
almost a
obvious thing,
$20
Escape
game.
from Duckov basically sounds like a shitpost. It's a name clearly riffing on Escape from Tarkov, and it just so happened to launch right before
Arc
Tarkov
Raiders.
hit Steam. That's pretty big, getting to market before Tarkov lands on PC's biggest platform. With a name like that is definitely one way to guarantee an audience. But as a game, it's not a shitpost. By all accounts, it is a very solid single-player top-down extraction shooter. That just so happens to be one where everyone is a duck. Now, it was made by Team Soda, and obviously Team Soda identified a gap in the market. After they did that, well, they got a really good hook with their aesthetic choices. But most importantly, they're actually
For some reason, I just assume this game would have auto-aim.
delivering gameplay that is great and that you can't really get elsewhere. Seemingly in spite of everyone asking for it, where there just aren't any big single-player extraction shooters like this. So putting that all together, we can see how this actually found some fans. But here's the real point of the video. We looked into how this game even happened, and that's a far more interesting story, because there's a big difference between finding fans and then getting this scale of success. So first, let's look at the developers. First off, it's not their debut. 2021 Snake Force was riffing off, of course, the mobile game Snake, and it grew from a 2017 Ludum Dare entry. Then 2022 Soda Crisis is a 2D platform shooter, which is a good enough recipe for a dev finding their feet, you know, trying new things. But neither of them took off like Duckov did, even though Soda Crisis shared a publisher with Duckov. And, this is the big thing, shared a parent company. That parent company being Bilibili. They are the Chinese social media platform who are
Like
worth
Chinese YouTube.
$11.3 billion. And what that means is this isn't really
Even a Chinese YouTuber's family
I
like
want you
this.
to imagine if TikTok had a game publishing wing, because that is essentially what we're looking at here. They've got a wide variety of titles under their publishing wing, loads of mobile things like Azure Lane, of course. But they've spent years working on traditional video games like Soda Crisis as well. Now, of course, we can't know the exact impact of having one of the world's biggest social media platforms behind you, but if you wanted marketing and audience fit data, you could certainly have a worse publisher. And because of that, I think we're getting closer to why Duck Off
Imagine
was
if
able
YouTube
to
just started making video games. Oh,
find success. There are
I would say
loads of
Twitch, but I
successful
mean, Twitch can't
elements
even
that all
regulate a
add up
platform,
to
let alone make a
viral
game.
hit. And hey, maybe you're a game developer and you can reverse engineer this to get your own viral hit. But I'm not going to waste your time stating the obvious, so let's talk about the one big element that you can't see. Comparing the Steam reviews for our viral games tells all here. It's not perfect, but you can generally map regional success against language reviews. And here's what we see when we look at Are We There Yet over on Steam Scout. 51% English reviews, kind of staggering 20% Russian, and I mean, kind of makes sense.
Russians just spawn in, man. I don't know where they come from.
It's a bunch of lads in the wilderness solving logistical problems. Makes sense. That resonates across borders. Of course, to get a viral hit, you usually need healthy international sales, and in this case, well, it did excellently, but in this case, some regions don't seem to have that cultural affection for RVs, which is understandable.
Yeah, in my mind, RV is very much an American thing.
Very different picture. You see,
even
Duck
just the
Off's
name
success
RV, like we
is
call them
almost
mobile
entirely
homes here.
contained in one region. You see, more than 75% are Chinese language reviews. And that's actually went down. It was nearly 80% last week, so we're seeing it spread internationally. Maybe this video will
Russians
help.
are still
and it's
here.
the reason why we felt we had to highlight this game to talk about Escape from Duck Off, because it's a viral game that effectively has not needed English-speaking audiences to find success. Now, of course, the English-speaking audience does clearly matter for international sales. The devs have been releasing all their comms in English. But Duck Off found success on Steam with English-language reviews being only 10% of their audience. Now, we've seen this from other games from Chinese developers. Black Myth Wukong is a massive success story with
I still need to play that.
nearly 90% of its reviews being Chinese. And the same goes with some more recent games like Wuchang Fallen Feathers, but in all three cases, the conversation has been about the game's massive success. But you watching this video, statistically, are not the ones who are playing these games, even as we're seeing press and streamers talking about them. To make sense of this, I've got a graph. And this is something that we've actually saw in Hollywood.
I am noticing though that these like the three games he shows, the character models are like basically the same. So I think what they might have done is they might have just dicked around. Like, this is very much just a shooter. The platformer was more movement, and it seems they kind of put the two together. And the model stayed the same. So maybe tinfoil hat here. They actually didn't care if this or the other game actually succeeded. They kind of used them more as like a beta test almost. Definitely pulling that out of my ass, but it just sounds a lot cooler.
Hollywood for years. Often not to great success. Looking at you guys, legendary pictures, just shoehorning stuff in. But basically, Chinese films can have incredible success. As an example, this year's Ninja 2 with $2 billion at the box office. Pretty big. Personally, I'd never heard of it. Most films like that are functionally invisible to most English-speaking audiences. It's kind of rare you get something like RRR that seems to actually blast out way beyond its initial market. Now, in games this will matter because in previous decades, China's gaming output was understood to be heavily skewed. It was mostly mobile games or multiplayer free-to-play games. But that's actually shifting here. It seems audience demand for single-player games
I know what game that is,
Duck
never mind.
Off is actually a thing in that region. And it's also for big games like Black Myth Wukong or things like Marvel Rivals. And what they actually show is the health of China's AAA game development industry. Now, obviously, compared to the other two, Duck Off is just a wee bit smaller and probably a wee bit cheaper to develop. But right now,
I will be honest, I tried playing Marvel Rivals. I thought it was kind of shit.
Is a key difference here. Distribution and visibility.
But then again, I'm not a huge fan of hero shooters in general, so... You know.
So it's not just that games can have massive
Didn't
success
like
in their home
TF2,
region.
wasn't a huge fan of
that now
Overwatch.
Everyone is sharing the same platforms. And that's why a lot of Steam's expansion in China does actually matter, because, well, we all also use Steam. It's effectively a global equalizer, because nobody seems to be enforcing the region lock to the Steam China platform. And that's the thing that's fascinating. And back in March of this year, Game Discover Co. reported on a GDC talk that came from Valve. And in that talk, they said that more than 66% of Steam users now have a primary language other than English. And in today's
English, simplified Chinese, and Russian. I'm actually surprised Russian isn't higher. I thought Russian would be about 10%. And I thought Spanish would be higher as well. And Korean. But yeah, I would imagine in my head, like, Japanese, Turkish would be a lot lower. Like, I'm just trying to think when I play a game, like, who do I run into the most? Will I fucking always run into Russians? I actually love running into I love Slavs so much, man. It's so funny. I run into Spanish people. I run into obviously English people, and like I'm on EN servers as well, or I'm on European servers. Usually it's London, because most have a London branch, or it might be Germany in some cases. So I wouldn't really run into Chinese too much, but I still do from time to time. But it's basically only ever English, Russian, Spanish, and then a French person like once every blue moon, which is why I would assume it would be lower.
Story, we see that data, yet no one is reporting in English on the latest games that are topping Steam China's player charts. And that underreporting matters because what we actually see in the numbers is that the global games economy is extremely visible and it is being participated in. It's not just a small English language region niche. Take this chart from the Apelian State of Gaming report, where it suggests the difference between Soda Crisis and Duck Off, where the Chinese language MAUs in Steam more than doubled between the two releases, and spending in the region has contributed to a third of global growth since 2011. A third. So that's a lot being driven by China. But even with that, they only spend 20% of their money on non-Chinese titles. Now, on this channel, we've talked before about how games like Monster Hunter Wilds have been having massive success in China despite this.
Someone just sent me a photo of like a fucking 240p screenshot of Cult of Lamb and asked, what is this? I'm just like, I don't fucking know. I think it's Cult of Lamb just by the how it's showing.
And with Duck Off, we're seeing traditional
Also, I never liked Monster Hunter.
Stuff
Aesthetically, I think it's the coolest shit ever. I think fucking, what's his name? He's from like the third Monster Hunter game. He's the final boss. He's the like Scarab Beetle. I think him pulling out like a mech is Otzel Ka, I think his name is. That was so cool. Don't like the games though. Not a fan.
Almost entirely within one region. But here's the thing, it does not have to stay that way. It probably won't stay that way. And that is what's going to actually change what you see on Steam, and perhaps even how games even get made. Alright, all of this stuff could kind of sit in parallel, right? Where there's us in the West doing our thing, and over in China, they're doing their thing, and neither of us really cross over. And certainly for some genres and some games, that will happen. But it doesn't have to just be that.
The Chinese market wants the English market market wants the Chinese market.
Because something you may not have noticed is that Steam has started getting new FMV games every week, because it turns out games like that are popular in China and Korea. They're essentially based on a quite soapy micro-drama format that's kind of everywhere on their regional social media. Now that's a whole type of video game that...
Yeah, I remember. Simulacra was kind of an FMV game. Right? Like it wasn't a dating sim like I imagine this is by any stretch of the imagination, but like it was an FMV game.
We weren't really making in the West, but that they are making that is now on our Steam, meaning it's a whole new type of game that simply was not.
Is it just a sex scene if you win?
At least not at this level of quality or approachability. And at the same time, we're seeing new takes on existing genres like, say, the extraction shooter. That's how we're getting great games like Duck Off. So even if it is mostly Chinese players giving that game its viral success, everyone benefits. Because gaming has always been global. People like playing games. What has not been
games
global,
are cool,
though,
yes,
is the distribution. And so with Steam being global and the hard firewall with Steam China not really being a...
The funniest thing is as well is that like Steam has no competition. Epic Games doesn't work. Fucking the new Fortnite season came out. I don't know how it was in the States, but at least here in Europe, Epic Games was out for 6 hours. You couldn't even log into your Epic Games account. It wasn't just Fortnite that was out. It was the entire fucking launcher was broken for us. For me, it was 6 hours. Apparently, in all, it was 8. It was so fucking stupid, man.
Well, we've actually just seen the industry change. And it means that much of the doom and gloom may only be...
Like, all I ever remember about the Epic Games launcher is it not working. GOG is fine. I have no qualms with GOG. I think it's a fine launcher. wouldn't be my primary one by any means, but I have some GOG games. I have Wasteland and the OG Fallouts on it. It's fine. But Steam is just so ahead of everyone. It's not even close. And Steam, at least to me, I think it has the most comfortable like UI. And it's honestly it's pretty customizable as well. So, but like unless it's like in, I don't know, North Korea or something where maybe they're not allowed to have it and they have to have their own like homegrown Steam. Um it's not going to have competition in any country in the world.
Specific may only be USA specific. See, there's a tendency for audiences speaking our language, speaking English,
Like realistically speaking, they have a
on the
monopoly, but no one cares that they have a monopoly because they're actually a good company.
States. I mean, see our previous video on the game market crash for that one. The rest of the world has always been producing games as well. The difference is that now we actually all get to benefit from that. And certainly, if you are in America and you want the American games industry to do better, you'll certainly have some competition globally to contend with. And while we're talking about Steam, you need to watch this video next because Steam have just done a big new feature that will help you discover new games that you might actually like. You can find all about
Okay, that's a crock of shit. That's not a jab against Steam, by the way. No fucking game service has ever actually recommended me games I like unless it's super like, oh, you might like Dark Souls 1. It's like, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. You might like Expedition 33. It's like, yeah. Wow, how did you think of that one? Whoa. You know. Grass is green, the sky is blue. What the fuck? This is crazy. To be honest, the only thing it recommended me that I wasn't too sure on that I actually love is Slots and Daggers. Slots and Daggers. Fucking love that game. And Soulstone Survivors. So there was two games it recommended me that were actually like good, that weren't, you know, generic, like, oh, this is just the popular game, so we're going to shove it down everyone's throat because if it's popular, that probably means it's good, you know? Um, Nice to see, though, that China is becoming an actual competitor, because I don't give a fuck where my games are from. I just want to play games, you know? Also, how many fucking Chris's do you have? Chris, Christian, Christian, Chris, Christian? Is this the same? No, it's not. Jesus Christ. Charlie Sims, Chris, Charles Sims? Is this the same fucking person? Cameron, bro.
it in this video next.
The wanker. Okay, that's funny. Gregory Jr. Gregory. I was going to make a bit, my brain actually just blanked. I'll see you all tomorrow, okay?